Yo, salute BF and combos with Cam. Salute to the brother and sister in the building early. Brother King BFTB and Queen Sister Cameron. Salute to y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. Kelvin Black, salute to you, brother. Yeah. Hey, Cam, I gotta send you this. I gotta send you this beat so you can add some piano to it. That would be dope. I know you mentioned that before. Come on, can we go? Green light, go. Come on. what people be doing, shouting? Green light, go. Yeah. I'm gonna definitely send you. I got your email, so I'll send it to your email if you wanna throw some piano on that. YouTuber Glass Gal, salute to you. Yes, indeed. The horns, baby. Weather been cooler? Yes, it has. The weather has been cooling down. Yo. Well, salute everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you are in the world. Freedom Marchers, Freedom Family, Freedom Lovers, and Freedom Fighters. Snapzilla Gorilla up in here. Hitting y'all upside the head with this afternoon edition of today's paper. What's good? What's cracking? Salute to Brother Sheldon, Kelvin Black, Convos with Cam, and BFTB. Salute to y'all for coming through. I appreciate you guys. Man. I got to get into this. Salute to the YouTuber Glass Gal from Scotland. Salute to Scotland. We got to get into this, man. Yes, please smash the like button when y'all get in here. Let's get a good ratio going, huh? You know, that'll be greatly appreciated. As we continue to march towards truth and freedom, y'all. We got to keep going. And I'm going to give you guys a perfect example of how the controlled opposition is out here pushing for tyranny, y'all. Tim Pool, or shall I say Tim Puddle, Tim Puddle, out here trying to convince people that Donald Trump should suspend habeas corpus, and seize control of New York City if Zorgan Mamdani becomes a duly elected mayor of New York City. Tim Puddle is trying to convince y'all that the federal government, Donald Trump, should do that. The ultimate form of tyranny that a president can commit. Now, y'all know I don't really give a damn about nobody's election. Y'all know I don't care about nobody's mayor. But I really want us to pay attention to this, because we're talking about suspending a constitutional clause, right? Suspending a constitutional thing, right? Habeas corpus is there for a reason. You cannot hold anybody, right? You can't hold anybody in detention indefinitely without charges being brought on them, without criminal charges, right? You can't just, hey, let's go kidnap somebody and hold them because, well, I don't like their political ideology and I don't like they got elected, so let's go kidnap this cat. No, you can't do that. That's what habeas corpus was put into the Constitution for. Without a fair trial, exactly. Listen, the writ of habeas corpus was specifically codified for this very reason. And listen, who knows? Zorgan Mamdani, I'm not familiar with that dude. He's a New York guy, right? I think New York sucks ass. Anyway, I think New York sucks ass. Although I haven't been there, so can I really say that for sure? I mean, I haven't been to New York, but I know people from New York. I know that it's mad expensive. And I know that Rikers Island is a cesspool of, the Rikers Island itself is poorly ran and it's trash, right? It's unsanitary, all these different things. So Zorgan Mamdani wishes to release those who are held in Rikers Island, release them, but place them in more localized jails, right? But of course, they're going to say, oh no, he just wants to release these criminals back out into the streets. No, he's trying to uncrowd the jail and place people in jails more locally. Whatever. I don't really, right? I haven't really looked too far into it. But, and he also wants to make New York affordable, according to Zorgan, right? That's what he's running on. Making New York more affordable, rent control, free busing, whatever the case may be, whatever he's trying to do, right? And somebody called for, it wasn't Tim Pool initially, but somebody called for Zorgan Mamdani to be kidnapped, basically, by Donald Trump, and to basically put New York City under federal control, right? Because they don't like Zorgan Mamdani, right? Because it looks like he's about to win. Nasty work, y'all. Nasty work. Diabolical. Wow. These cats is wild, bro. Mind the man, Samusa in the building. Salute to you, bro. Salute to the brother, Mind the man. Absolutely. It's not free. So anyway, like I was saying, listen, y'all. Tim Pool is supposed to be this you got these guys. They have these platforms. They act like they're anti-establishment. Act like they're like they're revolutionary and they want these things to happen. They want this level of freedom. They want this, they want that. But then at the same time, they push law and order, right? They push this man-made law and order nonsense. And cats like Tim Pool, they present themselves as someone who rages against the machine, right? Who, pushes this ideology that, there's a shadow government and all these different things. But then at the end of the day, he picks a side, right? They pick a side. Well, Tim Pool has picked a side, right? He picked the side of the right against the left. And so he's going to push the propaganda. He's going to push the ideology. He's going to push all this, that, and the third. And now he's pushing for Donald Trump to suspend habeas corpus so that if Zorgan Mamdani becomes the mayor of New York, he can have Zorgan arrested and take control of New York City. But what is Donald Trump going to do to New York City? How is Donald Trump federalizing New York City? How is that going to help New Yorkers? How is that going to improve the conditions of the city of New York? What was it? I mean, help me understand this. Now let's talk about this, the writ of habeas corpus. Now, Tim Pool, or Tim Puddle, as I'm going to now call him, he cites the fact that Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus to kidnap some folks in Maryland to preserve the Union, right? That's what he did it for. Yeah. Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus, which was a constitutional violation, but he did it anyway. And then 2 years later, Congress retroactively approved the suspension. Well, here's my problem with that, right? So he said, oh, see, there's precedent. Donald Trump can use that precedent to do the same thing, even though it's wrong, even though it's evil, even though it is criminal, even though it's violent, right? You're going to violate Zorgan Mamdani's right to act as a duly elected official of the city of New York because you don't like his politics. And so you're going to justify that by saying, well, Abraham Lincoln did it to some people. Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus. And 2 years later, Congress approved it. Well, here's the problem with that. How did they do it without a constitutional amendment? That's my question. So if you're going to go against the Constitution, they always do it, by the way. They always violate the Constitution without amending anything, right? They just create these laws, or they'll give these approvals, or they'll do this, or they'll do that, even though it's anti-constitutional, and they won't amend the Constitution at all. The Constitution gives them a way to do these things, right? It doesn't make it easy for them. Amending the Constitution takes quite a bit of work, but there's a way to do it. But they circumvent that. They just say, fuck all that. Fuck all that shit. No, we're not gonna. No, fuck that proposal and ratification bullshit. No, we're just gonna create a law around it. That's what we're gonna do. They do that all the time. But this statist, Tim Puddle, is calling for Donald Trump. So I want y'all to understand what we're talking about. People like Tim Puddle, who gives you the impression that, he's more at the level that you are than the elite class, is trying to convince you that it's okay for a president to act as a king, basically, and take over a city because they fear Zorgan Mamdani might do this, might do that, whatever the case may be, based on whatever slander or smear campaign that Andrew Cuomo is putting out there. No one really knows, right? Most of these people, they don't really know what Zorgan Mamdani is actually trying to accomplish to the fullest extent. They don't really have all the facts, right? But they just take bits and pieces. They cherry pick information and they present it to you to get you to go against them. So if they tell you, Zorgan Mamdani wants to release criminals out into the streets. Oh, he wants to do this. He wants to do that. He wants to do all these bad things, right? Well, when Donald Trump does indeed suspend habeas corpus to have him kidnapped, then most people are going to be like, oh, well, that's what he gets. They're going to think that it's justified, right? Because people like Tim Pool, people like Brandon Tatum, people that, they feed off of people's desperation. They feed off of people's desperation, right? Because people are desperate right now, right? People are desperate with the cost of living and the jobs going away and all these different things that are happening. All these things people are going through, right? All these problems that they have because of government, they feed off of people's desperation. They feed off people's needs for answers and solutions. And they present them with solutions like this. Oh, you just let Donald Trump, send National Guardsmen everywhere. Let's just let Donald Trump take over whole cities. Just let him do it, because no one's going to be able to save you but Donald Trump. That is what they're telling people. Only Donald Trump can save you. Only the Republican Party can save you. You have to be a Republican. No one else is going to save you. They never tell you to look out for yourself. They never tell you to start figuring out how you can be empowered. They don't care about that. They don't want you empowered, because they're not going to capitalize on that. They're not going to make all the money they can on that. No. They're not going to be able to sell you Donald Trump merchandise and their own merchandise. And, because listen, it is a hell of a grift, right? Taking advantage of the conservative base, right? Even on the left, they do the same thing. They do the same thing on the left, but it's not as lucrative as it is on the right. It's not as lucrative. It's not as lucrative. It's much more lucrative on the right to cater to those people, to cater to to cater to middle America. It's much more lucrative to do that. So they come up with this bullshit. Trump bibbles with gold pages. What? Getting to the right is the easiest job on earth. Yes. Grifting to the right. Yes. It's very simple. Donald Trump did it. Donald Trump did it. Didn't he? Right? He grifted to the right to become president, right? To get the support of middle American white conservatives. That's what he did. It's a hell of a grift. And because they feel like they need somebody up there to represent them, because they don't feel represented, right? They feel like, they have all these ideas in their mind about how they're victims. And these people, the Tim Puddles and the Hodge twins and Brandon Tatum and Ben Shapiro, all of these guys, Charlie Kirk. What's the other dude? Steven Crowder. Charlie Kirk, the light. All these people. Look what they do. They feed on their fears. They're fearmongers. They're fearmongers. And they take some of the truths. Not to say that a lot of this shit that they push is not true, right? No, they just they make it a partisan thing, right? They make it a left versus right thing. They're not going to tell you the truth. It doesn't matter if whoever is in control is left or right. It doesn't matter. You're still going to have the same problems. Now, depending on who they put in control during this term or this cycle, depends on what bad thing is going to happen next, right? And then they bring the other side. Oh, look, the Republicans are going to come save the day after the Democrats screwed up. And then guess what? The Republicans come, act like they're going to fix the problem that the Democrats created and create more problems so that the Democrats can come through and solve those problems. You want to talk about people playing victims? You're a hypocrite. Devil dog, where did I ever say I was a victim? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Joking says now they are losing. Their farms and rural economy is tanking because of tariffs, but they voted for it. Yes. Yes. And guess what? And you're not going to like this part. Those of you who voted for Camel Toe Harris or didn't vote for Trump, those of you who voted, yeah, you contributed to this as well. Yeah, every time you participate in an election, you are participating in the system that is built to oppress you. It just is what it is. I'm not talking about being anybody's victim, but you can have that. You can go ahead and present. You can go ahead and make it seem like I am. I don't care. I'm here to tell you what's what. And what is people like Tim Pool want Donald Trump to be a tyrant. Well, UNSC. Yes, Democrats solving problems. Yeah, it is funny because they're not going to solve problems. That's the whole point. They're not going to solve any problems. But neither are the Republicans. Sorry to tell you. What problem has Donald Trump solved? Give me one. Tell me a problem that he solved that wasn't created by government in the first place. Go ahead. You know, because the government creates a problem. Or they amplify a problem, right? Or they co-opt the problem. They create problems, and then they act like they're solving them. And we're supposed to be excited? We're supposed to appreciate them? Fuck out of here with that. The Zim Crufer says, have you looked into Cargill? Should the FTC strengthen antitrust laws? The Zoom Crufer, you've been here a few times. I want to ask you a question, the Zen Crufer. Do you think that I believe that we should be creating any laws to strengthen anything? Or do you I mean, should we strengthen laws? You've been here a few times. Do you think that I'm one who believes that strengthening laws are going to solve anything? Loretta Thomas says, it's because we aren't victims. Duh. It's rich dude you calling out why I'm a victim. Huh? Are you talking about me, Loretta? I don't know where you guys are getting this. You think we should avoid monopolies? Well, you know, the only reason monopolies exist is because of government, right? So you can have a monopoly if it's government sanctioned. If you try to have a monopoly and it's not government sanctioned, then they're going to come after you. How many big food groups are there? Big food companies? Anybody know? Because there are a lot of small food companies, but a lot of them are owned by single companies, a single large company. So there's an umbrella, right? So it presents you with this idea that, look, there's no monopoly, but there are monopolies. Desert Eagle says, but the only thing that can stop them is also government. Desert Eagle. Which government is going to stop our government from committing? What government stops the government from committing tyranny? Can you give me an example where a government stopped the tyranny of another government? Give me an example of that. Can anybody? Sophia Dobson, salute to you, Queen. Because the government has no problem with monopolies. As long as you are playing ball. If you're playing ball, you can have all the monopolies in the world. I mean, you can monopolize whatever you want as long as it's government sanctioned. It's the job of the FCC to break up monopolies. I know that. But how much success are they having with that? How much success? Are they having a lot of success? Okay. Just so you know, there are 10 There are only 10 companies. Only 10 companies control every large food and beverage brand in the world. Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Unilever, Danone, General Mills, Kellogg's, Mars. In the world. This is the world. 10 big food companies. Those are monopolies, my friend. Monopolies are the opposite of free markets. You're absolutely right. If we had a truly free market, there would be no monopolies because there would be a lot of competition. There would be much too much competition, and there would not be any interference by the government to reduce competition. So the free market will dictate who gets what business. You will always have an opportunity for, monopolies will not be here without government because these companies use and they lobby within the government to get in the places that they get. It's because of the government. FTC, they pick and choose who they go after for monopolies, right? Like when they made Microsoft share their proprietary software with Apple and other companies. Yeah, because Bill Gates wasn't playing ball. Bill Gates was like, fuck you. That's the only reason. How long did it take them to do that, by the way? How long did it take the government to make Microsoft share his proprietary software? Microsoft Office and all, being able to use it on other machines other than Microsoft machines, IBM and all that. It took a while. Desert Eagle says we're on the same page, brother. My point was government is supposed to prevent this, but they get lobbied to allow this shit. Absolutely. Those companies you just named off are buying from Cargill. I need to look. You know what? Zen Krufer, do me a favor and email me at freedomsmarch80@gmail.com so that I'm not familiar with that. I got to look into that a little more. If that's what's going on, then I definitely need to look into that. But yes, there is no way that, yes, there are 10 companies, so technically it's not a true ultimate monopoly, but there are 10 monopolies. 10 monopolies. Right? Just y'all have to understand. We're all this shit, man. And look at the food that these companies provide. A bunch of sugar shit and industrial seed oil nonsense. That's what they're selling to you. And this is why they get away with this, right? This is why they get away with sugar shit. This is why they get away with pumping sugar shit and food that makes people sick. Yeah, this is why it happens. And they work together. These companies work together to make sure that, there's not too much competition amongst them. The prices that they set for their products are similar, right? And they pick and choose okay, well, next month you have the lowest price. And then we'll have the highest price, and then they'll rotate. It's all a game. No, I'm not common. No, there's no comment here. But anyway, Tim Pool wants Donald Trump to suspend habeas corpus and basically have Zorgan Mamdani arrested if he becomes the mayor of New York, which is wild and crazy that you would actually want that. Why would you want a president to suspend habeas corpus for any reason? That is an abuse of power that the writ of habeas corpus was codified for and ratified. What are we talking about? And it's complete another. Hey, y'all hit the like button. All you got to do is double tap that screen. Double tap that screen, and guess what happens? I get a like. It's not hard, y'all. Right? Double tap the screen, I get it likes. That's how it works. So then you have to ask yourself. Brittany said, salute to you, Queen. Salute to you, Brittany. I'm so used to I'll call everybody a queen. I'm so used to that by now. It just flows out of the mouth. The Zen Groover says there are 4 companies that are middlemen of our food and they control 80% of the market. Yes, it's wild and out of control. Desert Eagle says Tim Pool thinks habeas corpus is a skateboard trick. Oh, no doubt, Brittany. No doubt. I got you. Yeah. Tim Pool don't... Listen, let me tell y'all something. Tim Pool don't give a shit about you. You know, Tim Pool, he feeds off of you. He feeds off the right conservative base. He feeds off of y'all. He wasn't a conservative or a Republican in 2020. When COVID started, man, he was pushing the goddamn government narrative. Okay? He was calling for lockdowns. He believed everything the government was saying about COVID. And sure, could he have been awakened by the COVID nonsense? Sure. But to make that complete shift to the right, like just go all in. No. What you would think, right? Okay. The left and the right are both lying to us about COVID. The left and the right both pushed the COVID-19 vaccine, knowing that it was not tested, that it was not proven to be safe and effective. We know that, right? The left and the right, they both pushed that nonsense. Sure, did Donald Trump do Operation Warp Speed? Sure he did, sure. But then when Joe Biden came in office, I mean, he kept the shit going. You would think he'd be like, nah, man, get Donald Trump out of here with that bullshit. We're not gonna, no, we're not doing mandates. We're not doing none of that. You would think no. So when that happens, you don't see the play. You don't see that you're being played by both sides. It's sad, man. These cats have millions of subscribers and they push this bullshit to them all day, every day. This is what they do. 4 or 5 times a day. These guys make videos. They pump. They pump the pro-Zionist propaganda and they shove it down your throats every fucking day. They don't tell you the truth. They don't. No, Brittany, said my phone was overheated. But I'm going to end this live stream anyway, so I appreciate you guys for coming through. Thank you for hitting that like button, man. Hit the like button on the way out if you haven't done so already. And I'll get back at y'all tomorrow. And we're going to get into some more nonsense, y'all. We're going to get into some more nonsense, y'all. I can't ever tell. Oh, you live in the middle of nowhere? Good for you. Good for you living in the middle of nowhere. No, you good. No, it's good to have these conversations, right? But yeah, if you wouldn't mind sending me some information, I can look into it about Cargill, Freedom's March 80 at gmail.com. But the bottom line is Tim Pool, cats like that, they're not going to come out and they're not going to push the message of freedom. They're going to push the message of, oh, you need to go over to the right. Or they're going to push the message of, oh, the right is going to save you or the left is going to save you. They're not going to tell you to save yourself, right? They want you to rely heavily on government. That's what they're here for. That's why they're here, right? So, me, I'm trying to push you to, well, have this, give you another option. How about withdraw, decouple, opt out of government? You know, strategically, of course, right? Get your shit together, become self-sufficient, with the understanding that eminent domain is there, property tax is there, but you know, but once it starts to cascade outward, once the movement grows, well, then that will no longer be a factor later on down the road, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You won't have to worry about any of that no more. Yes, two wings of the same bird. Absolutely. Two wings of the same bird. I don't care what nobody tell you. They present you with two different things. The left, obviously, it looks different than the right, of course, right? It looks different. They don't have the same ideology. They don't, they believe in social programs. The other side doesn't. They'll give you different options. Oh, they have different policies. Oh, they'll show you the policies. Oh, look at the policies over here. Look at the policies over there. Yeah, they'll present you it, with different things. Oh, they'll say it's different, obviously. Otherwise, the sham would not work. If they're not going to show you the exact same thing on both sides. No, they have to present it to you like there's differences. When the ideologies from both sides come from one entity, they just show, look, I'm going to show you this. And this saying I'm going to show you this. And this saying I'm going to show you that. I'm going to give you, here's a red pill or the blue pill. But the motherfucker holding the pills out to you is the same motherfucker. So the person presenting the pills to you are going to benefit if you choose one pill or the other. You just got to choose one pill or the other, or it doesn't work for them. As long as you can continue to choose which pill you're going to take, that is going to benefit them no matter what. Well, if you don't take that fucking pill, he has a problem. Barry Nemhard says, keep teaching, tell folks to go watch the movie Lincoln. Lots of messages that back up what you're saying. Okay, I will. Yeah, check out the movie Lincoln. Yeah. Everybody thinks that Lincoln was this noble guy who did this for that and that reason. To preserve the Union. So who wants to preserve why would you want to preserve the Union? The Union is dangerous. The Union is dangerous for the people. Because different people had different needs in different states. Now, of course, you had the issue of slavery, right? Well, the problem of slavery was solving itself without Lincoln. It just would have been a lot. Well, it was bloody anyway. You had the Civil War. So either way, it would have been a bloody thing that happened. Because slaves were rebelling. They were fighting for their rights. They were running away. They were killing their masters and all these different things. They were revolting and rebelling. It was growing exponentially. And it was creating a problem for the Union. Yeah, it was bad for business. Right? It was bad for business when the slaves started rebelling. And so Lincoln had no choice but to free the slaves because it would have been a problem for the country. For the government, I'll say, for the government of the country that was running the country, it would have been bad. Right? But of course, the Southerners didn't want to give them up, and that's where that came about. And the bottom line is, cotton was a hot commodity, and Lincoln did not want to lose out on that hot commodity. And all the rebellions and all that stuff was disrupting the supply chain of cotton to where it needed to go. And so certain decisions had to be made. There were a lot of reasons why the Civil War started. How many black Republican representatives are in Congress and the Senate? 2? Yeah. That's true. That is true. I mean, that's just how the cookie crumbles when it comes to politics. James Boyle, salute to you. Salute to James Boyle. Anna Rivera says this is not about black and white, it's about good and evil. You're absolutely correct. But of course they're going to use black and white to make it seem as though it is black and white. And they have created a lot of division amongst blacks and whites. They've been doing that for centuries, y'all. They will play one race against the other to get what they want. when at the end of the day, they don't really give a shit, right? They don't really give a shit. They use what they have, right? They'll use what best works for them, right? Like when, the Irish were indentured servants, and when the Irish started fighting against them, with the slaves, they were rebelling with the slaves. I think specifically it started in the Caribbean, I believe. But then, they said, well, what if we make the Irish, we make them the overseers and give them the whips and have them manage the slaves in the field? That'll take care of that problem. It was a business decision. It was a decision based on what would best give them control and power over other people. This is how it works. Michael playing a poor immigration card that we have too much illegals. Well, that's a whole nother issue, right? They created the immigration problem by telling people to come on over to the United States and opening the border and just letting all these people in. They created that problem. That's what they did. Brittany said, that's right. It creates an emotional response. You know who easily manipulated? Emotional people. Facts. Zen Cooper says, it could be said that we are United Corporations of America. Yeah, it is. The United States is a corporation. Absolutely. But now also they want you to fear them. They've been wanting us to fear them. And we have been. We have been fearing them. And that's the problem, right? But it's not just fearing them. It's fearing what we would do without them. See, that's what they present to us as well. There's the fear of them, and there's the fear of disobeying them. And then there's the fear of living without them. So they'll always justify their existence by allowing certain things to happen that show that we do need them. That's what they do. Dark Ballad says they're also trying to make it to where illegals can vote. They've been doing that. They've been doing that. Yeah. Let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna have to get into it a whole nother time. Oh, the zinc roofer. Yes, okay, the zinc roofer. That's what's up. The idea of voting and how meaningful voting is, it's not really what you think. It's meaningful, but not for you, right? Not in the way you believe. It's meaningful for them because it shows them that you continue to consent. That you are continuing to consent to be governed. That's what it shows them. That's what voting does. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Thank y'all for coming through. Just pay attention to these people. All right, guys. My phone overheated again. Salute to Convos with Cam. Salute to Brittany said. Salute to everybody that came through. The zinc roofer. Make sure you look. Send me whatever correspondence to freedomsmarch80@gmail.com. Whatever you want to send me. If you want me to talk about something specific, just send it there. And then guess what? We're going to keep it rocking and rolling, y'all. Thank y'all for coming through, though. I really appreciate it. Just hit me up. Hit me up at freedomsmarch80@gmail.com. We can get some shit cracking. Salute to you, Convos with Cam. Much love to you guys. Anyway, I'm going to head on out of here. Y'all think about it. What I was going to say before I was rudely interrupted by the overheating phone was that when these commentators in the YouTube if they're pushing a narrative that uplifts the government on the left or the right, they really don't have your best interest at heart. If they play that left-right paradigm game and they are sowing the division, but complaining about the division at the same time, those are the ones that you want to look out for. I'm not saying don't watch them. No, watch them. Watch them closely. See what they talk about. See what they're pushing. See how much influence they have. People like Tim Puddle, a whole lot of people watch him because these people are desperate. People are desperate for leadership. People are desperate for an alternative and to the government and mainstream media. And these people are presenting themselves as a true alternative. They're not. They're not an alternative, right? These people continue to push the narrative, the left-right paradigm. They continue to push that. They're not mainstream media, though. They're on the YouTube streets now. And look at the people that leave the mainstream media and come to the YouTube streets because they were fired for whatever, and now they're doing content on YouTube. But they're still talking that same shit they were doing it when they were in that mainstream media pulpit. They're not an alternative, y'all. No, they just have infiltrated alternative spaces. They have infiltrated alternative spaces, but they are not alternative. They are the same. They are in lockstep. And when they are in lockstep, that's when you know you got to watch it. Anyway, thank y'all for coming through. Much love, like, share, subscribe, and we're going to keep marching for Torah freedom and truth. Peace.